I first came over, I did day-to-day supply work. I remember being really nervous when I came over because my friends had come over before me. I had some friends who were in the year above me at university, and they, just like I did, got the ticket when we graduated and were going to do the travelling thing. And I came over and I was really scared I wouldn't find work. And I can sincerely say I've never been a day without work in 19 years. And very quickly, as an Australian teacher with sound pedagogy and practice, offers came in for long-term employment. So, you know, there's no fear about people not wanting to employ Australian, New Zealand, South African, Canadian and Tibetan teachers. We have a really strong reputation, and we're actively recruiting, or head teachers actively recruit from those areas, so much so that the Department of Ed's now changed the requirements on QTS so that staff can come in and don't have to go through any formal accreditation if they've been trained and are registered in their own countries. What I'm looking for is really sound pedagogy and practice, and I think that the training that is existing in certain parts of the world, and the Bachelor of Ed or your Dip Ed, supersedes a lot that is offered in Europe and currently in the UK, and the practice of teacher training is really seen to be advanced in certain countries like Australia and New Zealand and Canada. And so that's one of the things I love. I suppose I'm biased. I believe in the good, strong work ethic. People who are really good at balancing their lives. They're here to have fun. They're here for a short period of time, but they sort of give it their all when they're at work, and they give it their all when they're not at work. So we're really flexible as a school, for example, as I know others are, of if there's some special event on in Munich or in Pamplona that teachers really want to go to, we tend to allow them the odd day, because we recognise it's a 2-year working holiday for most. But I've yet to have any teacher from overseas who hasn't worked hard, so that gives them a great sort of remit for me. That sort of ticks the box. And also the most important thing is that London schools are hugely diverse, and we learn from each other, and there's such a wealth of knowledge when you learn from somebody who hasn't lived your experience. And these children are no different to any children in the world. They love someone with a funny accent, and after 19 years apparently I've still got one. So I think when you're doing your CV, it would be really useful if you could use the age phases that we use. So if you've worked in kindergarten or if you've worked in prep, we class that as being EYFS, Early Years Foundation Stage. If you've worked with children when they are 5 turning 6 up to 7, we call that Key Stage 1, Years 1 and 2. And then from 8 to 11 is Key Stage 2, and that's Years 4, 5 and 6. So that would be really useful for schools so they can understand, because I know that in New Zealand there are middle schools and they don't exist here. And in Australia, Year 6 is really Year 7 in the UK. So if you could have a look at those, and just if it's a specific subject area that you're putting into your CV, actually say what the subject is. So it might be that you led on CLL, but we may not always know what that is.